Hello and welcome to my review of the Hermes Light Velataris Sentinel Squadron for Solar Auxilia for Warhammer the Horus Heresy from Games Workshop. Now, a pair of these Sentinels will cost you £40 and consists of 110 plastic components and two 60mm round bases. It's important to note that it's a multi-part plastic kit that builds two Hermes Light Sentinels or two Hermes Velataris Sentinels. I've built mine as the Velataris Sentinels. I picked up the Velataris Storm section and it just made sense, you know, because I've equipped them with the Volkite chargers, and these also have the Volkite weapons too. The format of this review is as normal. I will take a look at both the Sentinels up close, look at all the detail, go through how easy they were to build. Then we'll look at the spare parts. We'll go through a load of size comparisons with some other Solar Auxilia units, now that I've built quite a few, and with some Space Marines of course. And then finally at the end of the review I will go through all of the rules. I will go through some of the Light Sentinel rules as well as the Velataris. I'll go through both because although I'd like to get some Light Sentinels, you know, a second pack of these at some point, it might be a little while yet. So instead of you waiting like a year or so for that review with the rules, I might as well just touch on them here. So first things first, let's have a look at the minis then. Here they are. They're nice size, decent size, sort of Sentinel size. They're quite hunched. I think you don't have options to extend their legs and make them taller at all, which, yeah, would be cool. But you do have a say in like the way their, say, the hip, the sort of body sits in those joints, because you can just clip, like I did, clip the little plugs off, and also you can choose which leg goes in front of the other, and also the angle of the knee. So that's quite nice that you've got that kind of option for a kit like this. Let's answer that question that probably a lot of you are wanting to ask, which is the weapon. Can it be magnetized? Yeah, you can magnetize it. We all like a tight fit, but this one isn't that tight. You can't just thumb it in and it just hold its structure. It will flop out. So just bear that in mind. If you've got a small magnet, you can magnetize it. With this ammunition part, you could do the same with that, but in my opinion it's just a waste of a magnet, really. You might as well just glue one of the ammo feeds in and then magnetize the main weapon. That's what I would do if I was magnetizing this. There's plenty of detail all around this. I love how it's very well armored. You've got this gap here, and I'm not sure I like the ammunition there, that it's not, you know, fully armoured. Although if it was armoured, you know, where would the ammunition go? I guess this is for ease. It can just change it on the fly. But if you got a shot in there, or a shot off that armour, or even a shot on the ammunition, then yeah, that could create some difficulties. It's not fully armoured is what I'm saying. Is you know, I doubt that the ammunition has better armour than the armour itself, so that is definitely a weak point there. And of course, so is the visor that's completely open there, but a harder shot than that big ammunition feed. You've got the Velataris himself. He's got a little bit more armour. He's a little bit of a different model than the normal Light Sentinel pilot. You've got this exhaust, you've got the fuel, you've got the comms, you know, the radar, whatever. It's tricky because you can't really get him in after you've glued the side armour, but it might be worth you leaving these armour panels off and then you know, painting him, and once he's painted then glue him on, much like you would do with cavalry. But that's my my tip there, because it is going to be extremely difficult for me to get my paintbrush in there and, you know, paint all that inside and the control panel and things like that. But nice little model. 20 quid each though in plastic. I think they would have been better priced at 30, maybe 35 at a push, but £40 for two of these small Sentinels, and they are quite small. The other one is pretty much the same, just in a different leg pose. But there's nothing that differentiates either of them. You know, they are the same set of sprues, just duplicated. So there you go. I'd love to give you a size comparison with the heavy Sentinel, but that is on my list to build after the Assault Lehman Ross tank. So let's have a look at these spare parts. You don't get very many. They're right here. These are the weapon options you can give them. So on the normal Sentinel, you've got a choice between the multi-laser or the grenade launchers. Grenade launchers look cool, at least, but whether they're useful, I don't know. I just found that the Volkite would be the most useful in my setting. You've got different heads, it's worth noting, than the Velataris. These are, of course, more reminiscent with the you know, las rifle unit, as opposed to the, you know, Velataris themselves. Different. You kind of got two eye lenses, whereas the Velataris has just one lens. I've got an extra control sticks and things, different arms, the ammunition feeds, and then the second optional weapon for these Velataris. I think they're just the, I want to say, heavy flamers. You can either pick the Volkite or the flamers, and I've gone for the Volkite. And then if you went for the normal Sentinels, the light Sentinels, you've got the grenade launchers or the multi-lasers. It's a shame you can't, you know, have the option of picking all of those 4 weapons. And also, you know, maybe like a melter. Like a multi-melter would be fantastic. I don't know whether that's overpowered, or even like, not a las cannon, but just like a las talon or something that's like a 24-inch range las, or some kind of plasma weapon. So yeah, the weapons are lackluster for this kit, I have to say. So that's all the spare parts though. Let's move on to some size comparisons. So the first comparison I want to make before I move on is just with the tank, and that's with the Lehman Ross strike tank. This is the one with the Vanquisher cannon. As you can see, you know, the tank is pretty big compared to these, but they work very well. They do share a few aesthetics with the kind of framed armor paneling. Another tank to compare them with is the much bigger, or longer at least, Malkador tank. Gives you an idea where they stand next to a Malkador. I will be comparing these to the heavy Sentinel, so when you see that review pop up, that will include these. Then with the Velataris themselves, so they probably come up to like the lens there, the targeting lens. So yeah, they do, you know, they are taller, you know, by a good chunk. They have to sort of step up to get inside. I guess this way rather than that way, which kind of limits them in a way if they're taking fire from this side and they want to escape that way. That could be a bit of a death trap there. But if they're being flanked, supposedly they're quite fast anyway. So, but there's always something faster to potentially flank them. So that's where they stand next to those. And then Space Marines, we'll start off with the Mark 3s and Mark 6s. So there's the Mark 3 and the Mark 6. Where do these stack up? Probably weapon height, maybe. So they're taller than normal Space Marines, so, you know, there is that. And then compared to some 40k miniatures right here, so we've got a standard Space Marine, Sly Marbo, and a Primaris. Normal Space Marine, again, almost up to the weapon. Sly Marbo, up to the lens, and then a Primaris is pretty tall, really. Again, slightly past the weapon, maybe. Yeah, although this isn't to do with size comparisons, I thought I'd just interject in the review here that one of the issues I did have was with these antennas. When I was clipping them off the sprue, so I clipped them as close as I possibly could. So I clipped one off the sprue as far away from the piece as possible, and that was fine. But then when I went to clip the leftover, when it was off the sprue, there must be like a inline fault with these, because right here it just exploded. Really, it just snapped off, and it was the same for the other one. So there must be something in the design of this that makes that snap at that particular point. It's fine with a bit of Tamiya and then leaving it to dry for a few hours and then filing the join. It's repairable, but I just thought I'd make that point that the antennas are very fragile. The tank antennas have been fine though. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for the Hermes Sentinel Squadron. Now these are a brand new unit for Solar Auxilia, so you'll find them in one of the most recent books, which is the Battle for Beta Garmin. It has a lovely picture of Horus Ascended on the front, and it is over 200 pages, so it's quite considerable. The Hermes Velataris Squadron is an elite choice, and that is in stark contrast to the Hermes Light Sentinel Squadron, which is a fast attack choice. So for these elites, they will cost you 65 points and consists of 2 Hermes Velataris Sentinels. The stat line reads movement of 8 inches, weapon skill 4, ballistic skill 4, strength 5, toughness 5, wounds 2, initiative 3, attacks 1, leadership 7, and a save of 3+. How does that compare to the Light Sentinel Squadron Super? Well, they're more expensive at 65 points as opposed to the 50, and they're also slower, which is one of the key things of Sentinels, is being quite a fast deployed unit, being, you know, fast attack. So the Light Sentinel Squadron has a better movement speed of 10, but the trade-off is the weapon skill and ballistic skill, which is worse. It is weapon skill and ballistic skill of 3. The strength is still the same, the toughness is still the same number of wounds, same initiative, same attack, same leadership, but also the save is worse for the Light Sentinels. So you're getting the same toughness, same wounds, but a better save with the Velataris. You're getting a slower movement speed, but you're also getting a better weapon skill and ballistic skill. So it's up to you whether you think that trade-off is worth it. Would you like to move an extra 2 inches, but have less chance at shooting stuff? And they're less survivable with that save of 4+. Personally, I would rather take the 3+ save and be 2 inches slower. The war gear: las pistol, reinforced void armor, Incursus pattern Hermes Light Sentinel, unit type cavalry mechanized, special rules tertio and storm section. Options: the Hermes Velataris Squadron may take up to 4 Hermes Velataris Sentinels at 24 points each, so you are saving a considerable amount there. You know, of course, 65 points, that is 2 lots of 32.5 points, I guess, put it that way. So you're making massive savings by introducing extras into that unit, and personally I would have a minimum of 4. It's nice that you can have 6 there, because another 2 would only set you back 113 points, which I think is pretty good for 8 wounds of toughness 5 with a save of 3+. Any model may replace their Volkite caliber with a heavy flamer, so it is a heavy flamer, and that's for free. Storm section: when selecting units for an Auxilia Velataris Tertio, 1 Solar Auxilia Hermes Velataris Squadron unit can be included in place of 1 Solar Auxilia Velataris Storm section unit. Incursus pattern Hermes Light Sentinel: an Incursus pattern Hermes Light Sentinel has 1 Volkite caliber. In addition, it confers a 3+ armor save. So that's the difference between the Light Sentinel and the Velataris. It's a different type of Hermes Sentinel. It's a Incursus pattern. So compared to the Light Sentinel Squadron, that doesn't have any special rules. So it doesn't have tertio, it doesn't have storm section. They are cheaper at 50 points, there is that. They only have void armor as opposed to the reinforced void armor. You're getting a nice reduction as well with the Light Sentinel Squadron. If you take more, again, you can have 6 in a unit at 18 points each. So that is a saving, but it's not quite as decent a saving as the Hermes, only by 1 point though. The Light Sentinels, they have the Hermes grenade launcher, which is a short range weapon. It's a 18-inch range. It's got two profiles, frag and crack. They both have the same range, which is a small 18 inches, but technically they've got an effective range of 28 inches there. But the frag profile has a strength of 4, AP 5, assault 1, blast 3-inch and pinning, and crack has a strength 6, AP 4, assault 2. Now in terms of the weapons, of course, you've got the multi-laser for the light sentinel. I've already talked about the grenade launcher, but you've also got the other option, the multi-laser, which is a 36-inch range, strength 6, AP 6, heavy 3. So that might be an option if you're not too bothered about armor penetration, that you're just bothered about pumping out, 3 strength 6 shots with an effective range of 46 inches. The two weapons that the Velataris Sentinels can be equipped with, though, one of course is the Flamer, one of course is the Heavy Flamer, which is a template weapon, strength 5, AP 4, assault 1. That's not too bad, but the one that I've gone for is the Volkite Caliber, which incidentally the rules are not in the Liber Imperium book for. So yes, you heard me correctly, you will need 3 different books for this unit. You'll need the Battle for Beta Garman that has the rules in for them, you'll need the Liber Imperium for the other weapon rules, and then you'll also need a Loyalist Legiones Astartes army book for the Volkite Caliber rules as well. So this brings me to wanting some kind of book that has all of the rules, not necessarily a rule book, although a rule book with all of the special rules and all of the weapon rules and things, at maybe a bit of fluff, would be very nice, and a load of pictures. Like if they had lots of pictures of all the units and they had all of the points costs of them all and all of the rules in one book, that would be brilliant. But yeah, these Volkite Calibers, they are they're not as bad as the Chargers, don't get me wrong, but they are still a shorter range weapon. If you want the longest range weapon, you'll go for the multi-laser at 36 inches, but these Volkite Calibers are a 30-inch range, strength 5, AP 5, heavy 3, deflag rate. So they are an upgrade for the multi-laser because they have AP 5 and they've got deflag rate, but they are 6 inches shorter range. Coupled with the fact that these can move 8 inches instead of 10, you're really looking at an effective range there of 38 inches as opposed to the light sentinels at 46. It might be worth it. It might be worth you being able to get that extra range. I'm just really surprised that these Sentinels don't have anything that has a further range than 36, and that being that multi-laser. Personally, I would have preferred Volkite Culverins on these, just for the range, more than 5 shots each, but there we go. And that's it for my review. What do you guys think of the Hermes Sentinel Squadron for Solar Auxilia? I like the minis. The kits were pretty fun to put together, but I just think the rules, specifically the weapons that they're equipped with, are a little bit of a letdown compared to the other Sentinels for Astra Militarum that have autocannons, missile launchers, and plasma cannons even. It would be nice to have a Volkite Culverin instead, but the Heavy Flamer does fall in line with other Sentinels. What do you guys think? Do you agree? Do you think there's a nice looking models that really fit the aesthetic and things, or do you think they're just too weak? Even though they're very cheap price points, do you think they're just too weak to field? The thing is, the Games Workshop are in this position now where a pair of these, even as the light Sentinels, is only 50 points. And to really make the most of them, you need them in a group of 4, maybe even 6. So to have 3 units of them, that's going to set you back £120. And for that amount of money, you could probably buy 2 or maybe 3 Lehman Russ tanks, which are arguably much more survivable and dish out more damage from a further distance. Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.